Breathe here. On your next inhale, go ahead and rise up, reach up, high mountain pose, and then sink to chair again. Take a breath, settle in, and then send your arms out in front of you. Go ahead and clasp them together. And then this time the right arm's going to stay forward, the left arm's going to pull back like a bow. So tall twist to the other side now. Same thing, notice if you're spinning throughout the hips and the knees. And then try and keep your knees at one level. So the twist here is coming from the upper, the mid-back. So we're getting a nice stretch there, a nice twist. Take a breath in here. Sink a little deeper. Inhale, fill your lungs. Steady on the exhale. And then inhale, come back up through center. And this time start to lift your right foot off the mat, feeling it in the left quad here and the low belly right here. Again, suck in your low belly. Make some space for that thigh. And then start to send your right foot back towards the back of the mat. Again, moving slowly like you're moving through honey or peanut butter if you're a vegan. Whew. Go ahead and set your crescent lunge. Take a breath in, and then open up to warrior two. Again, setting your feet if you need to adjust them a little bit. Notice if your knee is trying to fall inside, so towards your center, and on the side of your big toe, and start to pull it out, back behind yourself, so almost like it's trying to pull towards your pinky toe. Now, you don't want it to fall out there, but chances are when you activate the inner hip muscle here and the outer IT band here, it's going to keep your knee pretty steady over your foot. So as long as you're being mindful about it, it'll stick into place. Take a breath in, and exhale, let it go. Inhale, fill up. Stay for the exhale. And let's do that one more time with the shoulders. Inhale, reach them up to your ears. And exhale, pull them down your spine. Take one more breath in here. Let it out. And then reverse your warrior, reach up and back. And then find side angle on this side. So left forearm meets left quad. And same thing, right arm can go up or over your ear. Option 2, I forgot to mention it on the other side, but is to bring your hand behind your head. You can see a little better on this side. And then start to pull your elbow out and behind you. So we're finding that same chest opening here that we did on the other side, but just a little bit different way to do it. And then if you're in this kind of elbow bent pose, go ahead and look up towards your right elbow. Legs stay strong here. They're your core support. 3 more breaths. Inhale. Let it out. 1 more breath in. 1 more breath out. Go ahead and release the head if you have it. And then inhale, reverse your warrior, reach up and back. And then exhale, we'll all meet in a forward fold at the top of the mat. On your inhale, go ahead and reach up, lift up. And exhale, mountain pose. Go ahead and close your eyes here. Feel your feet rooted into the mat. We're going to start some balances here. We're going to do some balances here. So just start by feeling your balance on 2 feet. So be mindful about what's going on in your ankles and your knees. You're not locking them out. I hope you're not locking them out. But notice the softness you have in your ankles, your toes. And then remember that as we move through the practice. So not locking everything out, but instead finding that softness that holds you up every day. If you have a block or a book or something a little bit more steady, you can actually put it towards the inside of your right foot. And then start to shift your weight into your right foot. I like to kickstand my left here. And then you have a few options here. You can take the sole of your left foot to your ankle. If you have the block, you can pop it on the block. You can take it to your calf, or if you want to get fancy, you can bring it all the way up into your thigh. And then arms go where you want them to. So maybe they come to heart center, actually press into one another. Maybe they grow out to the side, or maybe even they reach up. So your practice, your choice here. And then keep breathing through these balances. Whoops. And if you fall out, go ahead and climb back up into your tree. But like I said, keep breathing in these balances. A lot of times we think, oh, don't move, not even the lungs, and that's counterintuitive. So go ahead, keep breathing here. Send your breath to your ankle, to your knee, if anything's feeling it. Send your breath there to help it out. So we'll stay here for one more breath at your own pace. And then go ahead, drop the left foot. I'm gonna move my block, you know how to use it. And then shake it out a little bit. Move the ankles, move the toes. That was a crack from me. Just loosen up a little bit. Start to get the blood flowing down there in your ankle. And then start to root your weight into your left side. We'll take tree on the other side. So I'll face you guys this time. You can see a little bit better. So I'm gonna kickstand my right, and then same thing. I can take the sole of my right foot to my ankle. I could do the block, my calf, or all the way up. Another option for a prop is always pull the wall over here. So if you're really struggling with this, or you really are like just at the brink of being able to like pick your right foot off the ground, go ahead and place a hand on the wall or even your whole body. So we're still working the muscles here. So one of the benefits of these balances is working all those muscles in your feet and your ankles that don't get worked on a lot. So even if you're holding the wall, you're still activating the muscles in your left foot to help keep you up. And then eventually maybe you come to fingertips on the wall, maybe just one fingertip for stability, and then eventually you'll be able to take it off. So building this pose the way you want to. And same thing, keep with the breath here. One more breath here at your own pace. And then go ahead, shake this side out. Move these toes now, move the ankle. Feeling a little bit more balanced now. Time check. And then take your feet about as wide as the mat. And then we're gonna go ahead and come into a yogi squat or a goddess squat. So sink your hips back. And then I like to place my elbows inside my knees for a little bit more stability. If you're having trouble getting down here, there's a lot of different options. So first, play with the position of your feet. Some people like to have their feet more out to the sides, so I'm very duck-toed right now. You can kind of tell my one foot over here. So that might help open up the hips a little bit more. The other option is to take your feet even wider. So again, we're opening up more space in the hips here by taking them wider. So chances are if your feet are together here, you probably can't get very far down without your heels lifting. But we do want to keep that connection to the ground. So go ahead, take your feet wider, maybe splay them out. Another option too is to roll up your mat. So like I mentioned before, your heels might come up. By rolling the mat, it's just like the block. We're just bringing the floor a little bit closer to us. So see if you can sink a little deeper there. And then there's also the option too, if this is really uncomfortable or you find you struggle holding your weight, go ahead and take the block. I'm gonna move that. And then prop it right under your seat. So it's right under my sit bones here. And I'm still getting the benefits of the hip opening through my inner thighs and my outer thighs, but I'm not holding as much weight down at the bottom of my hips. So this is another option as well. Again, a block, a book, whatever you have nearby. Go ahead and take one more breath here. Go ahead and remove the block if you have it. And then we're going to do something a little fun. If you want to go ahead, come into a forward fold to come out of this, you can go ahead and do that. And then meet us in our next pose, or just roll back in the boat pose. There we go. So you might wiggle and wobble a little bit. But now we're in boat pose. So boat pose, Building strength here. So our sit bones are back on the ground again. Go ahead and remove any flesh if you need to. And then building strength here, toes are on the ground, and then hands are behind you, fingertips facing towards your hips. So building strength here, we're just engaging the core. And I might come to my fingertips behind me. I might come to my toes a little more. And then next step is to go ahead and lift the feet up so that your shins are parallel to the floor. This is a big step, so I'm feeling it much more in my quads now. And then final step is to go ahead and lift the arms up, send them out. So again, building strength, you can go ahead and take any of these variations. But if you want the full variation for all the core work, go ahead, lift your shins up, lift your arms out. My palms are facing one another. So go ahead, take a breath in here. And then exhale, low boat. So I'm leaning back more on my hips. Ooh, this is gonna get hard to talk. But my toes are pointing out and my hands are forward. I'm actually gazing at my big toes right now. Inhale, high boat. Exhale, low boat. Inhale, high boat. And let's do one more. Exhale, low boat. Inhale, high boat. And then we'll stay for a breath. I tricked you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Hold for one more breath. And then go ahead, relax. Pull your knees in. Go ahead and lie back down on the mat. Take some knee circles here. Start to draw your knees in circles one way, and then the other, opening up the low back. And then we're going to set up for bridge pose here. So for bridge pose, your feet are down by your glutes, your knees are up, and your feet are hips width distance apart. So not out to the side, not together, but just hips width distance. And they're close enough to your glutes that you can kind of tickle them. They're not touching them. So they're far enough away that we can keep our heels on the ground comfortably. But like I mentioned, close enough that we can kind of tickle them. And then for bridge pose, we're going to press our feet into the mat. Your hands are down by your hips. Press your palms into the mat. And on your next inhale, go ahead and lift your hips up towards the sky. So like there's a belly button, or there's a string coming out of your belly button towards the sky, lifting you up higher. Our shoulder blades are still connected to the mat, as are our heels. And then if you get up high enough, you can actually roll your shoulder blades underneath and then clasp the hands. So I'm interlacing my fingers together. And then I'm going to press them towards my heels. This feels really good. Gets the stretch from your lumbar all the way up to your thoracic spine. And with every inhale here, with every inhale here, think about the lift. And with every exhale, think about engaging the core and engaging the glutes. So we're getting lift from both sides here. Stay for one more breath at your own pace. And then on your exhale, go ahead and release the hands, roll back down one vertebrae at a time. Then from here, go ahead and windshield wiper your legs back and forth, rocking your shins from side to side. Opening up and counter posing in the low back a little bit. So we have 2 more back bends here, so go ahead and plan accordingly. So you can come back to that bridge pose again, or if you want to set up for wheel, bring your heels back in, just like where they were for bridge, and then place your hands up by your ears. Go ahead and move your hair. And then hands go down to the mat, palms flat, but this time, you can kind of see it over here, my wrist is going back towards the back of the mat and my fingertips are facing my shoulders. Again, blocks are great under here if you can't quite get all the way down, or against the wall is really great too. So I'm going to go ahead and set up for that. And then same thing, bridge or wheel. On your inhale, go ahead and lift up. Coming into wheel, you might come onto the top of your head. And then for full wheel, you're going to press into your hands, coming all the way up. Again, I'm not facing the camera anymore, but you see what I mean. We're getting a really deep back bend here. So this is really great to prep. And same thing here, bridge or wheel. On my inhales, I'm thinking about lifting up. And on my exhales, I'm engaging the core and engaging the glutes. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I really have my glutes lifting me up from the bottom. They're protecting my low back here. So, but if I don't engage the glutes, a lot of that weight's going to go into my low back, all those tiny muscles. So instead, I'm really feeling this in the glutes, using them, squeezing them together. This time, stay for 2 more breaths at your own pace. And then on your second exhale, go ahead and come back down the same way you came in, moving slowly. And then once you're at the bottom, go ahead and windshield wipe your legs back and forth. If I was in wheel, I like to take some wrist circles too. It can be a little intense on the wrists, so just warming that up a little bit. And then for our third back bend, go ahead and grab your block, your book, your pillow, or your blanket. This is a really good pose for any of those props. And if you really want another bridge or another wheel, go for it, your practice. But for my third back bend, I like to do a restorative bridge pose. So I'm going to take my block, and then I'm going to inhale my hips up just high enough that I can squeeze this underneath. And then I'm going to put it right where my tailbone meets, or sorry, my spine meets my hips, right at that SI joint. And then just let your weight fall into the block. This feels really good. It's a good restorative back bend. I'm not putting any engagement in the core or the glutes here. I'm just letting gravity take my spine down. You can also, if you're using a block or a book, you can come to a higher edge if that feels good. Again, placing it right on the sacral joint there. So in layman's terms, it's kind of like right at the top of my butt. So it's not right on my butt here, and it's not on my back either. So I feel like I am totally spilling backwards here. So even my pelvis feels like it's spilling back. If your pelvis feels like it's spilling forward, go ahead and move the block a little bit lower. I'm going to come back down here. This feels good. Take a few breaths here. And feel free to mix it up too. If you're in wheel, you can come back down. If you're in bridge, you can relax this restorative bridge. Yeah, feel free to mix it up. Again, take 2 more breaths at your own pace. And then the second exhale, go ahead and roll back down or remove the block. Place it right next to you. And then this time for a restorative pose, just go ahead and take the soles of the feet together, knees out to either side for Supta Konasana. One hand on the heart, one hand on your belly, and breathe here. If you want more of a hip stretch, go ahead and take your heels closer in. And if this is too much on the hips, go ahead and send your feet longer. So feel that fire we've created. Feel the blood moving through your body. And then go ahead, close your knees together like a book. Pull them into the chest one last time. Do some circles. And then we're going to set up for a hip opener here. So go ahead, start with pigeon on your back. So the left knee's, or the left foot's going to come down, and then right ankle comes to your left knee. I almost look like my knees are in a figure 4. And then there's a lot of variations here. So really take this as deep as you want. So I can stay here. This might be enough of a stretch already. I can press my right knee forward down the mat. Or I can flex my right toes. I'm pulling my toes back towards my knee. And then clasp behind the left thigh. So I have my hands clasped behind here. And then you can lift up your left leg so your heel points towards the sky. Or bend it back down. That can be a big difference. So if you want something in between, you can go ahead and take your prop and go ahead and place your left foot on it. So this is kind of like an in-between, that clasp, and having my foot on the ground. So you can stay there, or if you want an even more intense hip opener, go ahead and roll yourself back up to find downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg in the sky, 3-legged dog. And then we're going to set up this figure 4 on our front. So bring your right knee behind your right wrist, your right ankle behind your left wrist. And now if you come down like this and you want to move your ankle forward, please don't yank it forward. Don't do that. That's bad. That's probably not good for your knee. Instead, we're going to walk our hips back a little bit more. So you can see I'm kind of sliding back on the mat, and then my knee is sliding back, but my ankle's staying where it is. So I have a lot more control this way. And then start by sitting up tall, and then start to walk your hands forward. Now maybe you stay here, maybe you stay with straight elbows. Maybe you take your block, your pillow, your blanket. You can actually put it under your right hip. You'll see it a little bit more clearly when I have it under my left hip. Or maybe you start to walk down even further. Coming onto the forearms is an option. Or if you're super bendy, you can get all the way down. And then try and find if you can relax your head here. So again, if you have a pillow, something, you can place your head on that. Or even just your forearms if you don't have anything else. That might feel good. Even if you're all the way up here, go ahead, take your chin to your chest, let it relax a little bit. But go ahead and find your version of this pose. I give a lot of options because there's a lot of variations just on how your hips are put together, if you were sitting all day versus walking all day, if you're right-handed versus left-handed. There's a ton of different variations that can exist in your hips. So just honor those differences. Even from day to day, it might seem different. Again, if you walk around all day versus sitting all day, there's a way to reach your hips in this pose. So go ahead, stay for 2 more breaths wherever you are. And then go ahead, slowly start to make your way out of this side. And we're going to go to the other side. So if you like doing this on your front, you can go ahead and switch to the other side. Otherwise, I'll walk you through both versions. So starting on your back, this time we're going to keep our right heel down on the mat, and then our left ankle comes to our right knee. And then again, maybe I stay here, maybe I press the left knee forward, or maybe I clasp behind the right quad, pulling my right knee in closer to me. There's all those variations here. Or if I want to come into that pigeon pose on my front, I make my way back to down dog. Or if you were in down dog, you can maybe pedal the heels out here, might feel good. I'm going to lift my left leg in the sky, 3-legged dog. And this time my left knee comes behind my left wrist, my left ankle comes behind my right wrist. And I'm going to walk myself back a little bit. And I'm going to show you this hip variation a little here. I actually really like a blanket for this. I feel like I can relax into it more. But I'm going to put the block right underneath my left hip. So as my left thigh bone comes back, it's kind of along there. If you do want to go a little bit lower, you can back it out a little bit so that kind of the crease of your butt cheek is on the block. But this way I'm bringing my hips centered. So what tends to happen is that if you don't have the block or a prop and this doesn't feel good, you tend to fall onto one side. So notice if you're falling onto the outside, the IT band of this left leg, and try and bring yourself more forward. So right now my hips actually aren't on the ground. There's a space between my hips and the mat. But instead I'm on my front leg and my back knee, and a little bit on the thigh too. So I'm just noticing I'm bringing my hips more center. And the block helps it too. This way if I put it under, I do have something underneath my left hip. And then same thing, start by straightening the spine and then walking the hands forward. Again, maybe I come to hands, maybe I come to forearms, or maybe I come all the way down. And then we'll stay on this side for a little bit. We hang out in these hip openers a little longer just to get into all those muscles. So normally in a class I hang out in a hip opener for about a minute. If this is ever too intense, feel free to change it up, back out of it. There's always that option available to you as well. I'll stay here for 2 more breaths. Feel free to stay longer if you're not feeling even yet. And then slowly start to make your way out of this side. And from here, we're all going to meet on our back. So if you're on your front, I like to just lean onto my left hip. If you're on your back, go ahead and send your legs long. And then from here, inhale your right knee into your chest. And maybe you stay here, maybe you circle the ankle a little bit. Or for a supine twist, go ahead and take it over to the left side of your body. Right arm goes out either straight or in a goal pose, taking a right angle at your elbow. And then feel the stretch here. We did a lot of twists in this class, so now we're going ahead and doing a relaxing twist, another restorative pose. So the stretch here is from your right shoulder all the way out through your right knee. So see where you can play with that a little bit. You might be feeling it here in the quad or the hip. You might be feeling it up here in the shoulder or even the ribs and the core. Just feeling that nice relaxation. You might find here that you can't have both your knee on the ground and your shoulder. So focus on pulling the shoulder back. So then the knee just goes where it goes. I like to keep my left hand on my knee for support. If you have the block, you can put a block under your knee or leg as well if that feels good. And then go ahead, come back through center. Send your right leg long, go ahead and pull your left leg into the mat. And same thing, maybe you just stay here, circle the knee. Or maybe you take the left leg over to the right. I'm rolling onto my right hip here. And then I'm going to take my left arm out this time, straight or to a T. My right hand is going on my left leg for a little bit extra weight. And then sink in here. We're more connected to the mat now. So just feeling that connection. Let every muscle go that you don't need. So maybe your jaw, maybe your eyebrows. Maybe you can even let your foot fall a little bit closer to the mat. Go ahead and come back through center. And then pull both knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice big hug. Tuck your chin. Get as small as you can. And then release long. Good morning stretch. Send your feet long. Plant your toes. Reach your fingertips up overhead. And take a big giant inhale. The biggest one you've taken all day. And then exhale. Find Shavasana. So just finding the most comfortable pose for you. So you're probably at home, so you can go ahead and take this in your bed if you really want to, or just lay out here on your yoga mat. If you really like that Supta Baddha Konasana from before, that's an option as well. You can even take this seated in a meditation if you'd like. So it's really about finding the most comfortable pose for you. Generally, that's just lying on the ground for everyone, but if that doesn't work for you, go ahead and find something else. For this Shavasana, I challenge you to bring your focus to your breath. So just take notice right now, that space between your nose and mouth where you can feel the inhales and exhales gently entering and leaving your body. So if you find your mind wandering to outside thoughts, maybe outside sounds, just bring your mind's eye back to this space right between your nose and mouth. And as thoughts fade in, just let them fade out. And then we'll stay here for the final 8 minutes of class. I'll put on some relaxing music, but feel free to put on your own music and meet us back at the end. start to bring your awareness back to the room. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Rock your head side to side. Bring some movement into your arms and legs. And when you're ready, roll over onto your right side, pausing here for a moment, beginning to wake the body back up. And then when you're ready, make your way into a comfortable seated position. I invite you to keep your eyes closed here, or maybe gaze softly at something in the room. And if you'd like, you can bring your hands together at heart center. I like to end my practices with a moment of gratitude. So bring something to the forefront of your mind you can be grateful for. A moment of gratitude for the ancient yogis that invented this practice a long, long time ago. And a moment of gratitude for yourself for showing up to breathe and move and take some time out of your busy day. The word namaste means the light in me sees and honors that same divine light in each and every one of you. As we close our practice, I invite you to bow, and together we say namaste. Thank you all for joining me on this flow. If you have any questions about any of the poses, go ahead and drop them in the comments and I'll try and address them in a future video. And if you want to continue doing yoga with me, Kit of Kit Does Yoga, go ahead and check out my channel for more videos. If there's anything specific you'd like to see, again, go ahead and drop those in the comments and I'll try and make a video for it. Thanks for watching.